Okay, guys, ready? Ready for something very exciting? Yeah, it's a lot of excitement.
你未開，我開咗。
開咗，你開咗未？ Okay, let's pray. Let's pray.
我們一起來禱告。
Dear Lord, we thank you so much for this morning that we can come to the church to worship you.
主，我們感謝你今天我們早晨來到你的殿中來敬拜你。
And God, as we are gathering here is to talk about leadership.
我們今天下午聚在這裡來談論這個做一個領袖。
We just pray that you will bless this time,
我們求你祝福以下的這一段時
so
間，
that we really know how to serve you better
讓我們能夠知道怎麼樣能夠更好的侍奉你，
and how to serve you better as a group,
能夠一個整體來更好的侍奉你，
and learn how to be servant leaders in this church.
能夠作為一個那個僕人領袖。
In Jesus' name we pray.
奉主的名求，阿們。
Amen. Yeah, first I want to welcome you all taking time to join this special workshop.
現在先歡迎大家來參加這一次特別的聚會。其實唔使翻譯嘅。
Actually, everybody understand English, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Now, I do have a problem though. Whether you want two separate classes for the Chinese speaking congregation. Do you want separate classes only for Chinese or just like this? You want a big group like this in English? Is it okay, right? Uh-huh. Okay. Anyway, you need to read English though. If you don't read English, then we have a problem. Okay. If you read English, that's fine. That's no problem. Now, the name of this course actually is called Jesus on Leadership. There are about 5 more sections. So in total, 6 sections. And every second and fourth week of a month, we'll have this meeting. Okay? And I'm really excited about this workshop because this is a really important topic called leadership. Now, I don't know if you remember, if you attend the second service, on Mother's Day, I preach something about servant leadership. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah, and that is actually is a really important concept. Someone started this in 1977. His name is called Greenleaf. It's something like New Year, green leaf. But this concept is not new, honestly speaking, because in the Bible, in the New Testament, we already have this concept. Jesus talked about this, basically. And I'm really excited about this course because many years ago, actually, I had this course. I taught this course once. And when I taught that, actually, after I taught that, I had a lot of positive impact in the life of my service. So I think it is important for you, and it is important for the church. And I do believe if you really do your homework, there's homework, okay? If you really do your homework and read carefully and study carefully and pray diligently, and I believe your life will be changed. I cannot guarantee that, but I believe that. This is my hope. That's why I'm so excited teaching this class, because I was changed by studying this book, and I hope you will be changed by studying this book as well. Now, since this is the first gathering, so you can do homework and we can do nothing. So we basically go through some concept. What is this course about? If you look at the page one, actually the contents page. Do you see the contents page? Yeah, in the beginning, actually, just right after the book information cover. You see, basically they have week 1 to week 5, right, with the introduction. So you got about 6 sections. And the first one is talk about down from the head table, leaders who serve, how to equip others. Now, it's just not about yourself. It's also about others and how to swim in team ministry and how to serve as a team. So you see, it's not just about individuals. Actually, it's about how individuals function, serve in a group, in a community, in a church like this. So that's why it's important. And for the author and introduction, you read that yourselves. But let's turn to page 6 and 7. Core concept of servant leadership. You'll get familiar with all this concept. Servant leaders serve God and equip others for team ministry. So there's a 3 important themes here. It's about, one is serve what? Servant leaders serve God. Yeah, and equip others. And the purpose is for team ministries. Okay? So just remember these 3 things. We are all here to serve God. We need to not just believe that, we need to make sure about that, actually. And then we need to equip others. Once we get ready, we are equipped, we need to equip others so that we can work together to serve the church. Now, and then the second thing, God prepares servant leaders to serve. Here, serve is, when we talk about serving, we talk about different things. I'm not going to spend more time, a lot of time on explaining this, because I think you're all familiar with this concept. Spiritual gift, we have different spiritual gifts, so we need to understand, discover what our spiritual gifts are, and use those gifts to serve God. And then experiences, what kind of experiences we are going to have, or we had, so that we can, help others to serve God better. And then we talk about relational style. That's a kind of survey and test, so you know what's your relational style. Each one is different, actually, in terms of relating others. And then you have the vocational skills. That is the skills that is some like technique, skills that you can use to serve. And the last one is about passion, enthusiasm. And this is really important. If you serve God with no passions, it's kind of boring, and honestly speaking. It's a kind of hard work. You feel it's hard. But if you have passion, it's different. And we hope that we have all these kind of things. And as servant leaders equip others. How do you equip others? They encourage them to serve. Now, I don't know whether I should use in our church, but in a lot of churches, one thing is lacking is about encouragement. In a lot of time when we work together, we don't encourage one another. Instead, we what? Huh? Yeah, we criticize each other, and then we kind of enjoy doing that. It seems that something like, I'm better, so you're worse, or something like that. But no, I think as a teamwork, we talk about equip others, encourage them to serve, qualify them to serve. For service. A lot of time when we ask people to serve, we don't help them to serve. That's why sometimes people got frustrated in the church, because they want to serve, but they don't know how to serve, and sometimes they serve, they don't serve well, and that's the problem. And then understand their needs and what are their needs, and instruct them and pray for them, and all this are important. We'll study all this. During these 6 sections. And servant leaders serve in team ministry. There's few concepts are very important in team ministry. Togetherness. That means unity. Now, we use different words for this, togetherness, but the same thing, unity. Empowerment. We need to empower, as a team member, we need to empower each other to do his or her work, And then accountability. This is very important. If you take something, some roles to serve in a church, you need to be held accountable. You need to be responsible. Sometimes we take a job and we take it lightly, and we are not responsible. Now, that's why a lot of times that's why we have problem in the church about serving. And then mentoring. But when we say to mentoring, at least you need to be good enough to mentor others. Okay? Biblical principle of servant leadership. There are actually 7 principles. In the first week, probably you'll study it. The first 7 principles. Alvin, will you read the first principle?
Servant leaders humble themselves and wait for God to exalt them.
Yeah, and I think the first one, I don't think I need to explain that to you. You know, servant leaders humble themselves. We all know that we need to, we have to. But the second one, sometimes we kind of ignore or neglect that. It's called wait for God to exalt them. That means what's the focus? The focus is what? To serve God, to focus on service itself instead of the position. You know, it's not. It's something like it's different from a company. Actually, the church is different from a company. In a company, you kind of look a kind of a higher position. You want to get promoted to a higher position, and you work hard for that. Just looking, it seems that that higher position is your goal. But in the church, it's not that. It's not the goal. It's just a kind of result. When you serve hard, some people may recognize that, and the church will recognize that, and they ask you to do that. You know, it's really different concept, though. We need to understand it. And the second one, servant leaders follow Jesus rather than seek a position. Again, it's related. You know, we need to understand why we are serving here. What's the purpose of our service? And the third one, servant leaders give a personal right to find greatness in service to others. Now, this is hard. Why is it hard, Peter? Why so hard? Or you think it's so easy? Huh? Uh-huh. Not human nature. Yeah, exactly. This is not what we do. We talk about what? We always talk about our rights. Yeah, our rights are violated. We always say something like that, right? It's not fair. If in the church we always talk about fairness. We always talk about this right. We'll have problem. Now, it's good to fight for the right for others. But it's not good for you to fight for your own right. You see the difference? There's a big difference. We should fight for others' right, but not your own right. That's a big difference here. So you study that. You study the detail. You get a clear concept. The fourth, Steve, would you read that? Number 4.
Servant leaders can risk serving others because they trust that God is in control of their life.
Yeah, that's just can risk serving others. Why the author used the word risk? Why serving others is a risk? Yeah, exactly. That's the case. People will take advantage of your serving. But the Bible says it's okay. No big deal, okay? Number 5, Zinan, would you read that?
Servant leaders take up Jesus out of servanthood to meet the needs of others.
Yeah, to meet the needs of others. Again, it's all otherness. It's not for yourself, it's for others. Now, in our faith, there should be 2 centers. The first center is what? God-centered. The second is other-centered. But a lot of time we said it what? Self-centered. This is our priority. But in the Bible, you don't see that at all. Self is always, behind God and others. Number 6. Mario, number 6.
Servant leaders share their responsibility and authority with others to meet a greater need.
Yeah, the key word is share. Now, I myself have this problem. Sometimes I would rather, I just do it myself. It's easier. Share responsibility, you need to oversee others, you need to help others. It's really, it causes a lot of trouble. But the Bible said no, you still need to do that. It doesn't matter whether what you feel, but you need to share responsibilities and authority, too, with others to meet a greater need. The greater need is the need of the church. Okay? Number 7, serve servant leaders multiply their leadership by empowering others to lead. So what is your keyword here? What keyword you will pick, Sarah? Multiply. Why? Yes, multiplication. Actually, this is really important, the concept of multiplication. And I'm not doing really well in this area, as you know. I think I need to train more leaders just to help others and serve in the church. But I hope after this course I have many helpers. And I can share some responsibilities. Okay, any questions about this? You study that actually in the first week about the 7 principles. But I really hope that you can really memorize this. If you can. You know, do you think you can memorize all these 7 principles? Maybe not, down to every word, but about the main concepts. Okay, and next time when we come back, we'll train this, we'll drill this. Okay, 7 principles. I want you to get these 7 principles, and just by heart, so you will know every time you serve, you think about these 7 principles. Now, because since this is the first time, so we'll just go through some paragraph for the first week. But next week, I'm not going to do that. Okay, we'll have more discussion, because I think discussion is more beneficial for this kind of topic. But just for this week, because you don't have any idea. Okay. Let's look at page 10. The week's memory verse. Let's read this together. That means you need to memorize this verse in the first week. And we all know this verse actually. Now let's read this together. Even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many. It's really obvious that we need to serve instead of being served. Okay? The first paragraph, we just skip it because it's just an example. It's okay. We just forget about this example. But you need to read it at home, right? But for now, okay. But he talked about a passage here. It's Luke 14, 8 through 10. Walter, could you read that passage? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, actually, the example is related to this passage. This author has actually had a kind of a similar experience. Yeah, he sat in a kind of a head table, and people asked, and then he was asked to move. So that's kind of embarrassing, you know. So he said, as I reflect on my social blunder, I realized I've done what was typical of many leaders. So it's a typical of many leaders. Let's look at this. It's not where, it's typical. How so? He said, when given a position, we happily accept the status that goes with it, often overlooking the fact that the true place of Christ-like leadership is out in the crowd rather than at the head table. Leaders who follow Christ's model of leadership work with those who serve in the kitchen and serve alongside them until they complete the job. Head tables are optional. Service, not status, is the goal of leaders who have Christ as their masters. Now, do you agree with this passage, this paragraph? You do? Why? Why do you think it makes sense? Anyone? Mm-hmm. Uh-huh. Yeah. So actually, you're talking about something like, I think it's very important. A lot of time, position and privilege seems go together, right? You know, I have this position. That's why I have this privilege. I'm a CEO of the company. So when I go into an elevator, somebody needs to hold that for me, because it seems that this is the privilege a CEO has, right? And sometimes we use this kind of concept in the church. Now, in the church, what kind of position do we have? A pastor, yeah, right. Deacons. What else? Council members. Yeah, do you know how people look at these positions? And when they look at this position, what do they think? Mario, yeah. Uh-huh.
Because one criticism I have heard of certain organizations
Uh-huh.
is a person will say, you know that organization, they're all chief but no Indians.
No.
Meaning that everybody have a title and is a boss.
Uh-huh.
Nobody gets
Oh, the chief. Okay. Chief. All right. Yeah. Yeah, and it's true. I mean, I think we Chinese should understand that. Why? Because I don't know those ABCs, but for us from Asia, we want to be boss. Honestly speaking, so we like to opening companies. I mean, we want to run the company. That's why there's so many companies in Asia, in Hong Kong, so many bosses. And in the church, people also look at those, say, hey, this is what high rank positions. And in the position, we should go for that. But here says something, I think, very important. What do you think about this, actually, other than what Jeff said? Any others? David? Uh-huh. Yeah, it get to you. I think it's true, because maybe maybe when you first became a kind of CEO, you don't know how to behave, and suddenly you find that people respect you. People will hold the elevator for you, so you just, hey, and then it gets to you. It seems that I'm superior to others, and that then why that's problem, okay? But here it says something very important. I don't know what do you think about this. Leaders who follow Christ's model of leaders who work with those who serve in the kitchen. Work with those who serve in the kitchen and serve alongside them until they complete the job. Can you find this example in the Bible? Can you give me examples in the Bible? And Jesus is the example. Why? Why Jesus example? Just so you talk about that wash the disciples' feet. That's the humility, right? But just look at like a higher concept. Jesus, what? Incarnation. What does incarnation mean? What is incarnation? Yeah, Jesus became flesh and became man. And become, a man walking on the earth. Huh? Yeah, lowly man. Yeah. So that we all understand this concept, and we all know that. But in the church, sometimes I think it's not easy at all to follow Jesus' example. But if you look at Jesus, he lived with the disciples. Remember, I think in the book of John, in the Gospel of John, a disciple asked him, actually, I don't know, it's maybe, who's the name? I forgot. I said, where do you live? And what's Jesus' answer in the response? Remember that? No. Come and see. Yeah, right? Come and see. And this is what it means. You know, you live with people, you work with people. So the disciples see all who Jesus is, what his work is, and what his teaching is they're together. So this togetherness, this communion, these are all that is important. Those concepts are important as we serve in the church. So he says service, not status, is the goal of leaders who have Christ as their masters. Service, not status. So remember this 2S. Which one will you go to? Status or what? Service. You need to remind yourself still. We all know the answer. I don't need to ask you, but we all know the answer. But we need to keep asking ourselves whether we're really seeking for service or we are seeking for position or status. Okay? Any questions up to this point? No? Let's look at the second paragraph. Many churches and ministries struggle because they lack servant leaders. Head tables have replaced the tower and wash basin as symbols of leadership among God's people. Churches and ministry, however, need leaders who know how God has made and give them for service and who serve Christ's mission or reconciliation. Okay, can someone finish the rest of the paragraph, Sarah? Yeah. Okay, so I don't need to explain that. It's pretty clear. The next one, Bo Ying, can you read it? The term? Okay, thank you. Yeah, the term servant leadership isn't an oxymoron. Yeah, when we look at this word, it's kind of really strange. You know, it's your servant and then leadership. It seems like an oxymoron, but it's not. We all know this term, right? Oxymoron. Actually, I think there's a note, a footnote there. An oxymoron is a figure of speech that combines opposite or contradictory ideal terms. Example like civil war and bittersweet. Yeah, this word, so you know that. Neither is the word servant a soft shell cover for what leadership really is. Servant and leader stand together here. Servant and leader stand together as a model for people called to influence others, to work toward the mission of God. Now, servant leadership is about both, basically. It's about leadership. It's about servants. You need to play both roles together. So it doesn't mean that when you serve, then it's okay, I just serve and you know, I do my thing. It's not just like that. It's actually, it's influence others to work toward the mission of God. As a leader, you should have that kind of influence. Do you consider yourself a leader? What do you think a leader is? Give me a kind of your definition of leader, of a leader. Huh? Alpha. Okay. It's something like alpha male. Okay. Okay. So it's helping you to achieve your goal, basically. What else? Yeah, provides direction. Okay, yes. Huh? Oh, to take initiative, to do something. Yes. Yeah, here's the vision, is direction, direction, vision, yes. Yeah, these are all, I think is good qualities of a leader, and it's important. So as the servant leaders, it doesn't mean that, as I said, you just do your thing and just forget others because I'm a servant. No, you are also a leader. You need to take initiative. You need to be a model. You need to help others. So that's why servant leadership is important. Yeah, because as a church, and I really appreciate you taking time doing this. Why? Because it means that you want to be a leader. You want to be a leader. And I think that's important. You want to set up this model. You want to help others to grow. You want to provide kind of the direction for others to serve. Okay. But here, I think this is the key. True servant leadership begins by submitting to Jesus and obediently following his teaching and lifestyle. Following his teaching and lifestyle. Now, this is really important because we talk about lifestyle here. It's not talking about just you come to the church and you give a kind of a lesson and that kind of thing. Because a lifestyle, that means that you're a person living like that. This is me. That means you need to have a kind of Christ-like lifestyle. So every time you get around people who see Christ, it's something like that. Okay, it's just a really high standard. But as a servant leader, if we want to be good servant leader, then we need to have this this kind of concept. You need to follow Jesus' teaching and lifestyle. You can lead like Jesus only when you obey his teaching about leading as his servant. If you don't obey Jesus' teaching, if you don't follow his lifestyle, I cannot guarantee it, but I can say I'm pretty sure you won't be a good servant leader. It's contradictory. Huh? Yeah, if you do something very different, then it's a hypocrite too. All right. Here, the definition. Can we read it together? The definition of a servant leader? The next one. A servant leader serves the mission and leads by serving those on mission with him. Now read this together, just get. A servant leader serves the mission and leads by serving those on mission with him. So you see, serves. Now it's not serve the mission. Of course, that mission is the mission given by Jesus Christ. And also leads, that's the leader part, by serving those on mission with him. That's really interesting. Huh? You serve and then leads by serving those on mission with them. So if in a group you are servant leaders, what do you look like? Yeah, people will see you are doing things. It's not just use your mouth to serve. As pastor, as sometimes, we used to this kind of thing. We just use our mouth. But no, he said something like you need to work, you need to do something to serve the mission. And the second part is the least by serving those. People will see you as a leader because you serve them. Yeah, this is very important. That's why I think it's really interesting. I don't know if you recognize that in the Bible, a lot of time, maybe in the old time too, when they go to the war, something like King David, do you think he always go to the war? Actually, wrong, most of the time. Not always, but quite often, until he got old. He got old, then so his people said, hey, you are getting old, don't go. Don't risk your life. Yeah, don't risk your life. Please don't go. You become the kind of a liability for us, okay? Don't do that. And it's true. I mean, a lot of good leaders, when they fight, Something like in First King and Second King, you see that too. The king also goes to the war and fight with the people. But nowadays it's totally different. Okay. But even in the military, if you're a captain or I don't know what's the name of all this kind of thing, huh? A general, a surgeon. Let's talk about surgeon. If you're in a group, you cannot say that, oh, you guys go there and fight, and I'm going to sit back. You cannot do that. You have to lead to fight, and you need to brave. But of course, if we could talk about president, general, it's different right now. Okay, but in a team, it's different. You need to lead and you need to fight, that kind of thing. Okay, so that's very important. Now, this study will help churches discover, equip, and place servant leaders in all areas of ministry. Now, this is a great promise and big promise, big word. This study will help churches discover, equip, and place servant leaders in all areas of ministry. I hope our study will achieve that goal. Jesus' teaching and model of servant leaders are the foundation for this study. Participants will discover their roles as servant leaders and will be equipped for team ministries. Our purpose as individual members, as a church, or as a ministry is to develop servant leaders in team ministry who carry out the mission of God. My prayer is that churches and ministry will honor and train leaders who follow Jesus' teaching and model of servant leadership. My personal goal is to serve you and your church through the Bible study and to help restore a biblical model of servant leadership in your church. Okay? We don't need to explain that. We all know this. Now, this week, so this coming week, you need to, actually 2 weeks. There's only homework for 5 days. So you got plenty of time to do it. Okay? But you need to do it, okay? Don't wait until the last minute, until the Sunday school, then say, hey, the Sunday school teacher is teaching and then you're doing your homework. Don't do that, all right? Please. Now, this week, you will, first things, discover 7 principles of servant leadership. We talked about that already, okay? Examine definitions of servant leadership and just teaching about humanity. We talk about it a little bit too, about the definition of servant leadership. Number 3, examine Jesus' teaching about being first and being great. If you want to be great, then you need to study well. Do you want to be great? By the way, yes or no? Yes, we want to be great in Jesus' eyes, okay? Not in secular world, but in Jesus' eyes. And then observe Jesus' model of servant leadership the night he was betrayed. That's what Jeffrey talked about. Examine biblical models of shared leadership and evaluate God's calling in your life to be a servant leader. So you got your plate full. There's a lot of things, but it's really interesting, and it's not that. Probably, I think it take only about 15 minutes, maybe maximum 20 minutes, 1 day. Yeah, of course, a day. Yeah, 1 day. It's not difficult, but it's really interesting. Now, let me just go really quick for day 1, then you know what's going on. And I think it's really pretty interesting. Day 1, that's page 12. Jesus' teaching on leadership, part 1. Rebecca, would you read that? Okay, so we talk about credibility, capabilities. Okay, credibility is really important. It's about your personality. It's about your characters. And then it also talk about capabilities, whether you have skill. Yeah, you have skills to achieve that. You have gifts to achieve that. Today, you will review the big concept of servant leadership, examine Jesus' teaching about humility, taking inventory of your relationship with Jesus Christ, study Jesus' model of humble service to all. Now let's just look at the first thing. Today, we want to examine a different idea about leadership. We'll look at biblical models of leadership and the way Jesus taught and modeled leadership for his followers. Let's start with your impressions of a leader. Now, I asked you that question a moment ago. But let's look at this list. It's more specific. Below, you will find a list of character traits. Select the quality you consider important in a leader. In a leader, do you think, what kind of trait do you think, hey, this trait leaders must have? You can circle it, you can square it, you can check it. All of them, are you sure? Are you sure all of them? All of them, okay? All right? Okay. Everybody agrees? No? Okay, all right. Okay. Now let's ask you this. Probably when I asked you this, I think probably you all agreed. Don't you think this is a good qualities? Yes, I think these are all qualities of a person. But I think the real question is the second one. Return to the list and circle the characteristics that are present in your life. What did he say? Oh, Steve said he has everything. Wow. Now this is really interesting. Just look at that. Sometimes when we ask the first question, when you look at this, hey, you think maybe if a leader does not have all the traits, at least have most of the traits. Let's say that. But when we look at the second question, he said, "Wow, is it fair for us to have all these traits?" So if you look at this, the next paragraph, people know what they want in a leader. Some prefer that their leader be decisive or visionary. Others want their leader to be charming and kind to people. Some decide not to have a leader. And indeed, sometimes, we have a kind of, I think it's wrong perception about leaders. Unrealistic expectation for a leader. Sometimes we want our leaders to be more decisive. And then on the other hand, we want them to be charming, to be easy to get along. Now, most of the time, those traits don't get together. People tends to be more charming, is less decisive most of the time. Because when he is really decisive, he's not that charming anymore, right? Do you agree? Yeah. But sometimes we expect everything from our leaders. But of course, leaders should have. I think a leader has different traits, and you too. You have your certain traits as a leader. You don't have everything doesn't mean that you can be a leader. Because God creates you differently, uniquely. So, but we need to understand the concept, though. And I want to highlight the trait of service in a leader. Such a leader serves the mission and meets the needs of the group that relates to the group's group. This kind of leader leads by example rather than by memo. Yeah, in a company, a lot of leaders lead by memo. Just send you a memo. You need to do this and do that. That's it. End of discussion, basically. But in church, it's more difficult to do that. Page 13. Page 13. May, would you read the first paragraph? Yeah, actually, it's true because right now a lot of big companies uh, try to understand this concept and use this concept in their leadership. And they find a lot of success by doing that. And a lot of kind of leadership consultants company are using this concept as well. A servant leader. He teach people how to be a servant leader. So this really, again, this Robert Greene is the person I talked about earlier. The next paragraph. Who wants to read this? Pastor William, will you read that? Observing. Do you agree with that? Do you have boss? By the way, do you have boss or bosses in your life? Yeah, a lot of us actually have bosses at workplaces, and also at home too, right? So we have we have different bosses, but it's the same. Okay. He understands that people had lost an appetite for bosses who lorded over them. People refers to follow those who help them, not those who intimidate them. And I think it's so true now. Yeah, it's something like parenthood as well, right? Right now, as dads, as fathers, can we overlord our children? Yeah, when they were maybe 2 or 3, right? But they appreciate if you help them, and if you live by example. They will love you more instead of just you always tell them what to do. Is that true? Yeah, it's true, and I think so too. So in the church as well. I mean, that's why I think in the church rules are important, always important, and we should all follow rules. But on the other hand, I think a church should be a place that we serve happily. We really enjoy our service. It's not something like, every time we serve, we just, oh my God, we need to serve again. We need to do this again. No, that shouldn't be a case. Okay, so that shouldn't be a case. Now, let's finish this class. We still have some time. Okay, let's read this paragraph very great. It's about spiritual leadership. Really, really quickly. True greatness, true leadership is achieved not by reducing men to one service, but in giving oneself in selfless service to them. Wow, it's really deep, huh? And this is never done without cause. The true spiritual leader is concerned infinitely more with the service he can render God and his fellow men than with the benefits and pleasures he can extract from life. He aims to put more into life than he takes out of it. Okay, and especially I think the first sentence is really important. True greatness, true leadership is achieved not by reducing men to one's service, but in giving oneself in selfless service to them. It's about giving. It's about sacrifice. It's about doing. Okay, the next paragraph. Sanders and Greenleaf call for the same quality in leaders, a servant's heart. This mark of a leader is a new discovery. It's an affirmation of Jewish teaching on leadership. Sanders sought for his description of leadership in Jewish teaching. He found true leadership in Jewish example of and teaching about being a servant. Andy, would you read the next paragraph? Yeah, our class is going to actually is and our class ends here, but you just look at just study that. But this concept, I mean, read it carefully, and you think carefully. You see there's a lot of gems there. There's a lot of good things there, good stuff here. Just think about this, and especially remember Mark. I think this is really important words. We need to memorize it. That is Mark what 10:45. What is it again? Can you memorize it? Son of God comes to what? Not come to. It's come to serve, not to be served. Come to serve, not to be served. Come to serve, not to be served. Yeah, we all need to remember this. Once we get this, and in a church, you'll see a really different world in the church. Honestly speaking. And you serve much happier. You know, just don't believe me. Believe God. That's what God said. You know, come to serve, not to be served. And if it wants to be great, it should be like that too. Okay, any question, any comment? If not, next time, that's the 4th week. I hope you guys can come on time. So we can finish on time, just 1 hour. 1 hour we will finish everything. Okay? 1:15 because 1:15 because the second week I need to go to Coral Spring and I come back. If one, sometimes I cannot really get back on time. So 1:15. But we'll try to finish it on time. Begins on time and finish on time. 1 hour. Okay. Any question? Huh? Yeah. Okay. That's your book. Just study the book. Yeah, study the book, yeah. Just study the book, yeah. And do the homework. Then probably that's good enough. Yeah. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. We will have discussions. Week 1, we'll discuss week 1. Because this coming 2 weeks, you'll finish week 1. Right? You do the homework, you finish week 1. Down from the head table. Yeah, during the 6th section, week 1. Yes, that's correct. That's correct. Huh? Yeah, supposed to every day you do one, but yeah, you have 14 days, so it doesn't matter really. You have a plan. You have plenty of time to do it. Yep. Any other questions? Okay. And remember to bring your book next time. But a lot of time people just bring their book home and then forget it, and then next time we don't have books for you next time. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think probably that's it. Pastor William, would you close our meeting with prayer? Amen. So by October, you said October, we'll have finished this course. So, thank you. Hey.
Besides the theory and the principle, would there be like a case studies, like real life case studies?
Yeah. I think if you can provide me, I think you all have experiences in servings, right? Yeah. I think I think it's a good suggestion. But maybe probably you guys have a lot of examples. You can give that to me. Sometimes when I say something, maybe it's too personal. By studying this book, and I hope you will be changed by studying this book as well. Now, since this is the first gathering, so you can do homework and we can do nothing. So we just basically just go through some concept. What this course about? If you look at the page actually the contents page. Do you see the contents page? Yeah, in the beginning, actually, just right after the book information cover. You see, basically they have week 1 to week 5, right, with the introduction. So you got about 6 sections. And the first one is talk about down from the head table, leaders who serve, how to equip others. Now, it's just not about yourself. It's also about others. And how to swim in team ministry, and how to serve as a team. So you see, it's not just about individuals. Actually, it's about how individuals function, serve in a group, in a community, in a church like this. So that's why it's important. And for the author and introduction, you read that yourselves. But let's turn to page 6 and 7. Core concept of servant leadership. You get familiar with all this concept. Servant leaders serve God and equip others for team ministry. So there's 3 important themes here. It's about, one is serve what? Servant leaders serve God. Yeah, and equip others. And the purpose is for team ministries. Okay, so just remember these 3 things. We are all here to serve God. We need to not just believe that. We need to make sure about that, actually. And then we need to equip others. Once we get ready, we are equipped. We need to equip others so that we can work together to serve the church. Now, and then the second thing, God prepares servant leaders to serve. Here's one, a big group like this in English. Is it okay, right? Uh-huh. Okay. Anyway, you need to read English, though. If you don't read English, then we have a problem. Okay. If you read English, that's fine. That's no problem. Now, the name of this course actually is called Jesus on Leadership. There are about 5 more sections. So in total, 6 sections. And every 2nd and 4th week of a month, we have this meeting. Okay? And I'm really excited about this workshop because this is a really important topic called leadership. Now, I don't know if you remember, if you attend the second service. On Mother's Day, I preach something about servant leadership. I don't know if you remember that. Yeah, and that is actually is a really important concept. Someone started this in 1977. His name is called Greenleaf. It's something like New Year, green leaf. But this concept is not new, honestly speaking, because in the Bible, in the New Testament, we already have this concept. Jesus talked about this, basically. And I'm really excited about this course because about, I don't know, many years ago actually, I had this course. I taught this course once. And when I taught that actually, after I taught that, I had a lot of positive impact in the life of my service. So I think it is important for you, and it is important for the church. And I do believe if you really do your homework, there's homework, okay? If you really do your homework and read carefully and study carefully and pray diligently, and I believe your life will be changed. I cannot guarantee that, but I believe that. This is my hope. That's why I'm so excited teaching this class, because I am, I was changed. When we talk about serving, we talk about different things. I'm not going to, spend more time, a lot of time on explaining this, because I think you're all familiar with this concept. Spiritual gift, we have different spiritual gifts, so we need to understand, discover what our spiritual gifts are, and use those gifts to serve God. And then experiences, what kind of experiences we are going to have or we had, so that we can, help others to serve God better. And then we talk about relational style. There's a kind of survey and test, so you know what's your relational style. Each one is different, actually, in terms of relating others. And then you have the vocational skills. That is the skills, it's something like technique, skills that you can use to serve. And the last one is about passion, enthusiasm. And this is really important. If you serve God without passions, it's kind of boring, honestly speaking. It's a kind of hard work. You feel it's hard. But if you have passion, it's different. And then we hope that we have all these kind of things. And as servant leaders equip others. How do you equip others? Is to encourage them to serve. Now, I don't know whether I should use in our church, but in a lot of churches, one thing is lacking is about encouragement. In a lot of time when we work together, we don't encourage one another. Instead, we what? Huh? Yeah, we criticize each other, and then we kind of enjoy doing that. It seems that something like I'm better, so you're worse, or something like that. But no, I think as a teamwork, we talk about equip others, encourage them to serve, qualify them to serve, for service. A lot of time when we ask people to serve, we don't help them to serve. That's why sometimes people got frustrated in the church, because they want to serve, but they don't know how to serve, and sometimes they serve, they don't serve well, and that's the problem. And then understand their needs and what are their needs, and instruct them and pray for them, and all this are important. We'll study all this. I mean. Okay, guys, ready? Ready for something very exciting. Yeah, it's a lot of excitement.
你未開？哦，開咗。
開咗，你開咗未？ Okay, let's pray. Let's pray.
我們一起嚟禱告。
Dear Lord, we thank you so much for this morning that we can come to the church to worship you.
主，我們感謝你今天我們早晨來到你的殿中來敬拜你。
And God, as we are gathering here is to talk about leadership.
我們今天下午聚在這裡來談論這個做一個領袖。
We just pray that you will bless this time,
我們求你祝福以下的這一段時
so
間，
that we really know how to serve you better,
讓我們能夠知道怎麼樣能夠更好的侍奉你，
and how to serve you better as a group,
能夠一個整體來更好的侍奉你，
and learn how to be servant leaders in this church.
能夠作為一個那個僕人領袖，
In Jesus' name we pray.
奉主的名求，阿门。
Amen. Now, first, I want to welcome you all taking time to join this special workshop.
现在先欢迎大家来参加这一次特別嘅聚會。其實唔使翻譯㗎。
Actually, everybody understand English, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. Now, I do have a problem though. Whether you want two separate classes for the Chinese-speaking congregation. Do you want separate classes only for Chinese, or just like this?